So this will be a warm-up set. Figures. Okay, these will be 2-minute poses. All right, let's go. Okay, Google, set timer for 20 minutes.
20 minutes, starting now.
So we're returning to quick poses tonight, but you're going to be seeing me do a lot of stuff that deviates away from what's on screen. Tonight's going to be pretty loose about what we do, but I'm going to be talking about the subject of reference gathering for creating a cheat sheet folder for yourself to practice from or to utilize when you're doing studies and stuff. I've got a folder that one of my members supplied me with that has like tons of great anatomy reference in it. That is an excellent example of a starting point to use for yourself. But one of the big points I want to go over tonight is the principle of surrounding yourself with lots and lots of reference images and images of good art and anatomy and like anatomy stuff and drawing stuff. Like it isn't enough you can't just draw out of your head. You've got to surround yourself with reference materials and anatomy reference and good artwork that you want to try to emulate or learn from. So every time you run into a problem that you need to solve with your drawing, you have like a big giant cheat sheet right there to go to try to solve it. Because one of the bad habits I have is I do too much drawing out of my head instead of like referencing existing principles of draftsmanship and stuff. So I'm trying to exercise the habit of utilizing utilizing reference and having it handy for me, like anatomy reference and things like that. Whether it be photos of anatomy from different angles or photo or like structure drawings or gesture or something. Like stuff that'll like raise the quality of my work just by having it near me to glance at and to just take little tidbits of every time I sit down to draw. That's a habit that I know works that I've been really kind of avoiding utilizing. Because it's kind of it's easy to just like sit down and draw without going through the setup time to actually get reference and stuff. Fortunately, a friend of the Discord has supplied us with a lovely giant ass reference folder. Mostly of anatomy reference, but also of like some fundamentals here and there. But but it's going to be an example of the kind of thing you should make for yourself, and I'm going to start making some for myself too. of stuff to surround yourself with. Either print it out or have it on a separate display or whatever, but you want it present where you can see it while you're working. But I'll show you guys later. There's this giant folder here that I'm using. I'll link it to you guys after this set. So you're going to see me a lot. You're going to be seeing me tonight do a lot of the quick poses. We're going to be mainly doing quick poses. But you're going to see me like inserting like shapes and anatomy and stuff, and I'm going to be copying stuff from this thing a lot. So I'm trying to play with it in little bits and chunks and get used to using it regularly. So I'm considering tomorrow's class. I may pick an area of the body, and then we'll do an animated anatomy study. That means that we're also going to do a warm-up period for about like an hour or two. Maybe like an hour and a half, I want to say. Warming up, drilling that area of the body to understand it. And then we'll do a little animated anatomy study. Not sure what area of the body to use just yet. Probably bicep, because bicep is like the most obvious thing for how it works. Like how it flexes and how it bulges when you scrunch it up. But yeah, I want to start utilizing animation more as a study tool. You saw me doing those. You saw those turnarounds I did the other day. If you were in one of my other classes. Don't think I'm ready to lead a class for that yet, but something like this, which would be very, very fun. We can keep it like simple and mechanical. We want to understand how it works. Other things that we could probably do in the future would be like localized areas of anatomy, for example, like if we want to understand, for example, how the shoulder looks from different angles in animation. There's this other idea I had of like possibly taking like some of the reference images that show how muscles work and use those as my keyframes, basically. Just do like a copy study of the of what the artist did in rough form. I'll see if I can find that first. An example of that, like, has to be like one of those sheets that shows like the before and after of how muscle flexes and moves. How's everyone's week been?
Really busy
Still incredibly frustrated I can't get the 3060.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's gonna be kind of a shit show for a while unless you get really lucky, or you go, or you camp out Micro Center relentlessly.
That's probably going to be the only way to do it, because honestly, I think at this point, the only way I'm going to get new parts is buying an actual pre-built from somebody.
Hmm. Why a 3060? Well, I mean, because it's all that's available. uh,
In general, I just found that you don't really need anything beyond the 60 range in terms of power. Like, I ran off of a 960 for the past, like, 6 years, and I've been fine.
you have a
I've been
process.
slacking. I've been slacking in my drawing, playing Valheim too much.
Yeah. Well, we can play some of it. Well, actually, no, I'm going to be doing some stuff on Sunday, but I've been drawing a lot today, so I'm very deliberately going to take a video gaming break after I get done here. There's a game called Loop Hero that I've just started to get into. I might actually play it at the end of the stream if people want to check out what it's like, check out what it's about.
What's it called?
Loop Hero. It's a new Devolver Digital game, actually. It's a roguelike game. Or roguelike. Not a true roguelike. You know why they call them roguelikes, by the way?
No.
Because there's this game called... Excuse me? Somebody's emptying recycle. Because there's this game called Rogue, which is like a you know, like those old school dungeon games that are like dungeon RPG games that are some of them are even done in modern times, that are like just ridiculously in depth with what you can do, but like the interface for them is like a text input and little moving pieces of text on the screen.
Oh, okay, yeah.
One of those. Rogue is the name of a really old and legendary one that's still active and still has content being added to it. And one of the big draws of those kinds of games is like the world is randomized and changes every time you die and come back. And there's permadeath and stuff. So modern roguelikes are not really like that game at all. There's no continual progression. So it's kind of almost a misnomer to call them roguelikes in a weird way. I think there should be something else that they're described, but it's just become a convenient way to describe them because the modern roguelike is not really like that. I mean, the only similarities is that when you're on a run with a particular character, that character can die.
It used to be just called Iron Man mode.
Yeah. But I mean, like modern roguelikes, there's always like this kind of progression overall, usually with your deaths. Some of them, some roguelikes, like the only progression is your ability to understand how to play the game. But like like a lot of things that we call roguelike, there's a lot of like stuff that you gain resources in over time that eases the play experience or levels up your character outside of the game, or you progress in a little bit even if you die. And that never was really a feature of like the original Rogue or those kinds of games. There was an attempt to use the word roguelite for years to try to differentiate a little bit.
Yeah, I see that on Steam a lot.
But the two are so easily pronounced together that it's kind of pointless. We know generally what you're talking about when you say roguelike. And it kind of has become a big umbrella category for all that stuff.
say that probably the two best roguelikes I've played and recently were probably Hades and A Robot Named Fight.
Hades is so good.
So Hero Loop's pretty interesting. That has like a death loop. Well, you go around this this track basically fighting monsters in little like turn-based battles that you can't really influence the outcome of. But you add additions to the world. The story is that like you and a lot of all the other heroes and all the other humans in the world have like lost all your memories about the world. And as you start remembering stuff, like stuff starts coming into an existence. And the way you remember stuff is there's cards that you play to lay down as tiles in the map to build, literally like you build like the dungeon track you go along, to grind enemies, to get better gear, to face the boss. So it becomes like a risk management sort of thing about maximizing how much you gain and how much of your life you retain so you can face the tougher foes. And there's a lot of like strategic nuance and stuff to it. It's a really inventive game. And it's got a nice, pretty cool atmosphere to it. Also, how about WandaVision?
I haven't watched today's episode.
It was good.
Yeah.
I will say that like WandaVision turned out to be more Doctor Who than Twin Peaks. Like a lot of people got flack for like saying, "Oh, it's like David Lynch stuff." That there were like nods to David Lynch and stuff in there, but people started getting made fun of pretty relentlessly for saying that it's Lynchian, because it's like it doesn't really have any of the tooth or the depth of David Lynch. It's ultimately just a Marvel superhero thing. But it was pretty good. I mean, as if taken as basically a Marvel superhero Doctor Who season arc, it's pretty darn good. There was a lot of disappointment with certain fan theories not panning out. Two words. Ralph Boner. You'll see.
That pissed me the
Ralph
fuck
Boner.
off.
Ralph Boner. You'll see
Pissed
it
me
in.
off.
Yeah. Well, I was not invested in that fan theory, so it didn't bother me at all. I thought it was funny that they were thumbing. It felt like they were thumbing their nose at the audience's fan theories.
It wasn't the fan theory thing for me. It's just the way they played the actor.
I know,
Yeah.
I know. Okay, Google, stop. Alright, so pausing this. Lovely doofy man. So, what I got here is I got this giant folder of reference. I'm gonna have to be careful to make sure that, like, here we go. Share, copy link, there we go. I'll put that in Twitch chat. And I'll put that in Drawing Corner in Discord. So I wanted to talk a little bit. I want to encourage everyone here, gather lots and lots of, start using like Pinterest or Google image search, or making like folders on your desktop. There is a way actually for me to like download all the stuff in this folder into image files, and I'm gonna do that later. But for now, like what you can do with something like this, you can have maybe this and multiple windows of it open up on one of your displays, and like just peruse it periodically. If you're working on a certain area, you can scroll around till you find like a smattering of a bunch of reference, like for say feet and legs somewhere in here and stuff. You can just go up and down through it, and like you can put on some music or put on or something and chill and practice copying these and riffing on them and stuff and trying to absorb things. Like, think about stuff that you're struggling with that you want to kind of learn and stuff. And there's a lot of good stuff in here that will help you with that. Like, you want to do a little hand study, a little bicep study. You want to work on your you want to work on your gesture or something. I actually think it's mainly anatomy that's in here. It's mainly muscle anatomy that in this folder. But point is, like, you should start making folders like this yourself or finding ones like these. In fact, like, I would strongly encourage people to share your folders. These are really nice from Will Weston right here. I had his class recommended to me as a is he teaching now? Will Weston. Let's see here, drawing work. Okay. Online courses, classrooms. Oops. Will Weston, style development, animation, and game. Will Weston, composition, figure insert. Will Weston, figure drawing, spring 2021. I think I missed the date for that. This one starts in March 6th. Oh, geez, that's tomorrow. 37 people enrolled. Jesus. But yeah, Will Weston's really cool. Anyway, so yeah, I want people to get in the habit of surrounding themselves with lots of this stuff anytime they're sitting down to draw. Like, get your drawing books out, get like tons of stuff like this out. If you're working on a particular thing, like for example, if you're one of the newer people here, I would recommend getting lots of like basic primitive shapes and 3D and stuff, like Drawbox. If you're doing the Drawbox lessons, you want to get like lots of let's see here. You want to get like lots and lots of like references of 3D boxes and stuff, and like sketches of boxes, like a Dropbox box homework. See if we can find some examples of the homework that people have done. But yeah, I mean, the point is, like, anytime you're doing something, you want to surround yourself with lots and lots of examples of good work of that. And also, like, as far as, like, human figures go and things that are in the real world, get a lot of photos in addition to drawings, good drawings that people have made of that thing or how to draw things of that stuff. You get, like, a big smattering of it. Some of them you can grab from to dive in further, but, I mean, the point is to just kind of like get a good big overview, and you can start like breaking off little chunks of it to solve your drawing problems. And the point is to draw less straight out of your own head, and to increase your visual library by looking at stuff. Like for example, I'm looking at like a torso anatomy off camera as I'm kind of going through this. So feel free to do that and to deviate from the timed poses on screen today to do that. Because I'm doing that right now because that's kind of what I need to do right now. I may jump, like I said, I'm going to be bouncing between doing the on-screen poses and from drawing from the off-camera reference pile. But yeah, I want to strongly encourage everyone here to start putting together collections of that kind of stuff. Mixtures of photos of human figures and lots of anatomy reference stuff from good books. If you have good drawing books, you can open them to particular pages of things you want to work on. Like if good drawing anatomy books. I actually need to get something set up here so I can have like some book stand type things around me to use that with my books over here. But yeah, so Like everyone here, like I want you to, if you are going to draw out of your head, do it after you've absorbed something that you are trying to replicate or trying to emulate. And I want to push people in the direction of when they run into a drawing problem, have your reference extremely handy so you can just literally just look up and scroll through really fast and find something. Oh, that's kind of like this, and then I can try to solve that problem. Like if you have a big folder full of like fabric reference, like drapery and fabric of clothing, you can do that to solve drawing problems with clothing and fabric. The folder I have right now from that Miles gave me is a muscle anatomy folder, muscle and bone actually. But yeah, get into the habit of building those folders for yourself and using them. Like build a folder, use a folder, stuff. Don't just be a pack rat about it. You want to use it and build it and maybe even build them continually. And on that note, we in our Discord section we have a section here for sharing that kind of stuff. That would be in the, I think it's in the drawing section. Main chat. Let's see. Well, yeah, art nude stuff goes in here, but and I need to I'm gonna be. Don't worry, guys. I put it off, but this next week I'm gonna be automating the ability to opt in for that. But let's see here. You know, I'm gonna do this here. I'm just gonna make like anatomy discussion. I'm gonna make this. I'm gonna make like anatomy discussion and anatomy reference like the. I'm gonna make them into non-work safe channels. Let's see here, non-work safe. Nothing about that. Well, I'll look into that later. But yeah, in order to display like non-work safe stuff, I have to make it a non-work safe channel. It's not going to be a problem. It's just, yeah. I have like an opt-in system for this, but to be honest, like it's not really going to work too well right now. I think I might actually, now that I think about it, because because I don't have the automated system up, I'm just going to open these up to anyone. Just please, if you are under 18, do not use those sections. But yeah. So in the Discord though, as far as like safe for work stuff, or like one or two, it doesn't matter if there's one or two nudes somewhere in there. You can share. Let's see, it's already drawing. Reference hunters. Here it is. Yeah, the reference hunters section. If you got a reference folder here, and I think I should actually make this a non-work safe channel. There we go. Okay, now it's a non-work safe channel. So you were allowed to post nudes in here. Cool. But yeah, if you have any reference to share, you can post it in there. And I think I've got. Here we go. There's Miles muscle anatomy folder. There we go. Cool. All right, so we're gonna get started another set. Okay, Google, set timer for 20 minutes. Okay, Google, set timer for 20 minutes.
20 minutes, and that's starting now.
Ralph Boner. Yeah, I don't like how they played him off. It was really dumb. It's so stupid. Hopefully we can have a spoiler-free discussion about that later, but honestly, I'm not invested in it. I'm just a little disappointed in how that actor got treated. Has anyone seen Raya and the Last Dragon yet, by the way? Because that's out in theaters and also on Disney Plus for $30 if you're already subbed on Disney Plus for $7.
Yeah, forget that. I'll wait a week until it's actually just free on Disney Plus.
30?
Well,
Yeah.
it's not
The
from there.
mouse needs his money.
I was wondering why.
Yeah. Because it's like a movie premiere thing. I don't know. I'd buy it if they had like, okay, we're including this, but we have like tons and tons of making ofs that you can get if you buy this, and I'd be like, yeah, and Mickey would be like, haha, and then we'd go off and have adventures.
How long did these last, by the way?
These are twos, more twos. So there's a lot of fairly new people here. I'm going to recommend new people. Try to keep your poses very simple and try to keep them focused on line of action. If you need help understanding what a line of action is, whoops, not that. There's a video here. See if I can find it like this. Yeah, there's quite a few videos on line of action if you really want to find out about that. This is someone who was doing the same Alex Wu gesture drawing course that I was doing, which focused on line of action for a period. And this is a Proco video on gesture versus contour and scribbly lines right there. But here's a really fantastic video that I strongly recommend people check out. It's a digital gesture drawing with Norm from Grizz and Norm. I'm gonna put this in here too, because why not? It's a little companion piece. But I'm gonna strongly recommend, like, especially the newcomers, watch this, because they actually go a little bit at the beginning over how to sit at your drawing easel. You can replicate something along these lines digitally too. But you can see them drawing like really, really kind of loose and stuff, and pushing the gesture and the silhouette and so on. And talking about like the weight, the structure, and so on of the body forms, keeping it very loose. I'm actually going to maybe watch this later myself. But I've gone through a good portion of that video. I'm going to watch it again later. So I would strongly recommend, especially newcomers, watch that. And also for newcomers that are really, really new to just penmanship in general, and who don't yet understand 3D form and so on, really, really very important. Go to the Drawbox site and do the exercises. You're gonna have a very rough time here unless you watch something like the Grizz and Norm video and you practice the Drawbox exercises. And maybe practice some of the stuff that Grizz and Norm talk about. Yeah, they made Soul 3, but not Rai or Mulan. Yeah, I think I know why they made Soul 3, and I'm really glad for it. Oh, I found the other day we were looking at Liquid Television clips, and I actually found a short made in the 1990s, actually, by one of the artists on Pixar's Soul, and there's like a similar vibe to some of the art in Soul to the short film that I'm talking about. Soul's a really fucking good film, though. I think it's a really good film to see for people that are struggling with finding their creative voice. Also, I'm not quite sure if it is or not, but I think that the hippie character in that film was like loosely based on a Oscar-winning or Oscar-nominated animator. That had a CG animated film made about him, Ryan. Yeah, the film is called Ryan Animation. Here we go. National Film Board of Canada has it available for free on Ryan Larkin was a Canadian animator. Unfortunately passed away, but he made like amazing stuff like back in like the 60s and early 70s. And he got an Oscar nomination at one point. But then like a mix of drug use and mental illness issues kind of ate away at him. The happy news is that he made a new film towards the end of his life, but then he was taken from us a little, like as a result of they basically made an animated documentary with some really kind of inventive CGI that sort of shows like the mental states, kind of an abstract idea of the mental states of the characters reflected in their bodies. But yeah, like Ryan Larkin, I think there's this one hippie character in Pixar's Soul that seems kind of like Ryan Larkin in some respects. Yeah, Ryan Larkin, like as a result of the film, the film helped like bring more recognition to his work and stuff, and it got him to get his life back in order towards the end of his life. But then he was taken from us a little bit too early by like a medical issue. But before he passed away, he completed another film, which won a bunch of awards. So I would recommend watching that. The National Film Board of Canada has a free upload of that film. There's also another video on the making of the film, and also more on the history of Ryan in depth too, including the some of the footage that they used as like the reference for the animation when they were conducting the interviews for the animated short. Yeah, there is some severe similarities in a lot of respects to aspects of Pixar's Soul, like struggles with creativity and like creative block and so on. Also, I really relate to what Ryan went through because I struggled with mental illness for a good portion of my life, and it's hell because you wind up locked inside your, like, for a creative person who wants to like create, to be paralyzed by like anxiety and depression and stuff is absolute hell, because like you can't do anything, like you can't function. Like fatigue and depression is corrosive for the creative process. Like they say that that depression and anxiety influences art, creates great masterworks. No, what happens is that either the artist is in a manic depressive state and then they like create like really crazed desperate work when they're in the manic swing, or they are or you're looking at the work of someone who is a survivor who has recovered and is making work about the experience. They're in hindsight, but the experience that they went through. It's like you need personal stability to create. So anyone who is struggling with those issues, that doesn't mean you can't create, by no means. In fact, I strongly encourage you do, because art therapy is, or using art as a therapeutic tool is fantastic. Like, if you liberate yourself of having to care about whether something is good or bad and just enjoy the act of drawing, that's really, really therapeutic and can reduce your stress and make you feel a lot better. But like fatigue and depression and stuff and anxiety are corrosive for the creative process, and you've got to really sort those out. You're not going to look for perfection, obviously, because like people all have different degrees of mental health troubles, but it's all the more reason to fight harder, because if you want to, because like you want to fight for the right to create against the tide of depression and anxiety or whatever other potential issues might be getting in the way of things. So yeah, I'm starting to strategize a little bit now about what will we do tomorrow with some kind of animated anatomy thing. I'm going to pick an area of the body or some kind of principle of how the body works that we're going to try animating tomorrow. After we do like a lot of studies to try it together to try to understand how that area of the body works. I'm leaning towards the bicep. We'll see. Because like the bicep was like, you can think of it in like really simple mechanical terms to start with, like without having to worry about like the anatomical specifics. You can think of it like the bicep is like this kind of stretched out sausage or bulgy thing between two end points right here. And then when the arm curls in, it bunches up because these are raising and closing together a bit. Yeah, I've been struggling with some personal frustration myself lately, which I am proud to say I found some ways to get around. I've still got to struggle some more, but the personal frustration is like I'm starting to hit like a wall plateau with like personal study. And I really feel like I need to kind of do something to overcome that plateau. And part of what's helping me right now is looking at this stuff. Like, I've been doing too much drawing out of my head, and that's a bad habit that I've really got to get around. Like, I need to, like, my head. I'm not a genius who has memorized exactly how the body works or anything like that. I need to keep feeding my head, and I need to not get pig-headed about that and beat myself up because I don't understand how to handle like parts of the body from certain angles. Well, why would you? Because you're not looking at reality. You don't have the reference in front of you, and you haven't fully studied it yet. So get studying it. Having it there to utilize is how you study it. So yeah, that'll be what we do tomorrow. Probably be the bicep. We're going to be trying to study and understand an area of the anatomical body, and then try animating it using simple structures so we understand like the basic function of how that piece of anatomy works. That means we'll probably do a lot of like arm studies and stuff too as part of our warm-ups. Arm and torso, because we want to connect the arm to the torso. I wanted to do hands this week, but I'm gonna hold off. I'm gonna hold off on that. But I am leaning heavily towards doing that next week, and possibly doing that in the course of like, if the animate anatomy thing works out pretty nice tomorrow, and it's something that I want to maybe make into a regular thing, then we can definitely do that with hands. I think that arm is pretty big. Yeah, as with anything, like these classes are also my study sessions too. So, um, anything that we do is going to be geared towards something that I need to learn and know. I try to like open it up to keep them open for like anyone of any skill level too. But there's going to be kind of a general like kind of progression of running to the next thing that's like gonna build on something else that I've done. Oops, this torso is all messed up. Okay, Google, stop. Okay, Google, set timer for 5 minutes.
5 minutes, starting now.
Jeez. So you can see though, I'm starting to like I'm using the anatomical landmarks and a lot of other stuff we touched on with this last week, with like, you know, the pit of the neck, top of the shoulders, trapezius back there. Get the neck, rib cage. Get the pectorals in there. Anyway, I think I need to give my hand a rest for a little bit. So let's see what people are up to in chat. Oops, I posted that in general discussion, didn't I? Here. But here's the Grizz and Norm video for anyone who needs it. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, like I said, start using the anatomy sheet. To kind of vibe with and stuff for sure. Have it open like near your work. You can also like do the same thing with like gesture drawing stuff too. Like have a lot of really good examples of gesture drawings or different positions of figure or different like really dynamic figure poses or standing and resting figures. Just have like tons of stuff open near you so you can pull from it. And I guarantee you'll see like a marked improvement in your work if you start doing that.
So I started trying to play around with the Riley method as you suggested. Not 100% sure I'm getting it right.
Probably not, because it is drawing hard mode. For one thing, you need to be doing it a lot cleaner. Another thing is that I think you need to work on some more simple figure models and master those before you move on to Riley method. Like I'd look at like Loomis's proportions, for example, or like Glenn Vilpoo's gestures. But yeah. I mean, Riley method is really useful once you kind of like wrap your head around some other stuff that kind of prerequisites it, basically. It's mostly to do with proportion and an overall gesture. And the ability to understand 3D structure enough to like to sculpt the kind of wire gesture frame that you need for the Riley method figure to work. Doesn't mean you can't try it, but without doing the other stuff, you're going to be kind of missing a lot of stairs in you need to do for it.
Seems to be the definition of most of my art career so far.
Yeah, I mean, like my answer to that is like, we'll do the best you can, but you're gonna want to enroll in a real art class at some point that's gonna address you at your current level. Like everyone here should be strategizing about how they can budget for an art class to enroll in. And if you need a list of art classes, there's a art classes that are worth the money. There's a link right here in Art School Links. Here, this Google Docs folder right here. Let's take a look at that. I'm going to actually add Will Weston's to that when I get the chance. But, because he's really good, and he's starting tomorrow. If you have $500 and something to spend, enroll in that. You'll get a lot out of it. I'm keeping it pretty loose today. I'm also trying out some new tools a little bit. Okay, Google, stop. So we're going to start another 2-minute set. Well, I guess we'll just start with this dude here. Okay, Google, set timer for 20 minutes.
20 minutes, starting now.
Yeah, fuck it. Fucked up that head. Alright. So I do notice that when I sometimes start the day like drawing like with a lot of really nervous, tense energy and stuff. But then like as the day goes on and as I clock more mileage in, like my drawings start to get cleaner usually. Like instead of making a trillion, I start getting into the headspace of instead of making a trillion strokes for the same line that I'm trying to find, I just make like 1 or 2 strokes to describe the thing. I mean, it just comes down to I just gotta crank out. I mean, like mileage is important, but I've also got to keep the observation, the effective observation pattern going, of looking at art that I'm going to be absorbing. And on that note, I have a monitor coming this weekend. It's going to be a 27-inch 1440p monitor. And the reason I've ordered it is for these classes. And also for my own workflow in general. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing exactly what I was talking about, which is putting up like lots and lots of reference on screen on the monitors. Well, also like having the multiple monitors will make it a hell of a lot easier for me to multitask. I'm planning on hopefully getting like a cheap 1080p fourth one that I can turn vertically as well. But I'm just gonna have like tons of reference up on everything when I'm doing my like off-stream studying or just trying to work on something. I'm gonna try doing that, and try working on animation while doing that and see what results it gets me, because like it might a big problem I have when I go to animate is like my sense of the figure kind of goes out the window a little bit and I get really sloppy. And I want to try to see if I can come on a lot stronger with my figure and gesture by having lots of reference handy while I'm trying to animate. Another area that we could probably do tomorrow is maybe the clavicle. So the clavicle is such a tough area to study, but I think breaking it down from different angles for animation might help people, myself included.
What's it? What's again?
The clavicle is the collarbone. It's the bone that connects to the top of the front of your rib cage. And you can feel it up along the front of your chest. That's what I'm drawing right now, actually, this bone right here. It's kind of like bicycle handlebars that connect up to the shoulders from the top of your chest. So I'm thinking of like doing an anatomy study where we use like an animated anatomy study where we use like very, very simple geometric form versions of the clavicle, and then like animate them in different positions and stuff using reference of like the range of motion of the clavicle from different angles.
I'm not gonna lie, that seems like a bizarrely comfortable hoodie.
Yeah. This is someone who's basically showing off like the Alex Wu, thinking of the figure as a like a singular shape unit exercise. Like they've become a singular shape unit. If you can visualize something like that over the figures that you draw, that would help you a lot. Like, pretend that there's like some kind of a shroud that's covering their whole body and creating this mass that makes the figure a singular unit. Pretty wide variety of stuff in this folder. It's supposed to be a muscle anatomy, but I see like lots of like structure and like some structure studies, head stuff. So that's two things, folks. Surround yourself with good work and like reference images at all times when you're drawing. And be relentless about your practice. Relentless and try to like decide what you're practicing and why. Like I know why I'm practicing this stuff right now. I'm doing this stuff right now to test where my gaps are so that I know what areas I need to focus on. And later on, I'm going to make more focused decisions about what areas to practice. Right now, I'm being holistic on purpose to kind of get an overview, engage myself a bit. Let's see here. I'd ideally like to get a system together of like making like an anatomy drill worksheets or something, or worksheets for other things. Like whatever helps you study, pretty much. All right, I feel like trying this pose. Okay, Google, how much time left on time? Oh, I think...
You've got 7 minutes and 38 seconds to go.
So I know that there's other, like, anatomy sheets I've seen that might be good for doing what I'm talking about, but one of the ones that I think would work good for us is Gottfried Bamas. Because he has a bunch of stuff in some of his books that show off like the range of motion of the body. Let's see if I can find some examples. Here we go. Yeah, there's stuff like this. I don't know if he has them for localized muscle groups, but I think there is some stuff that shows how things hinge or how the muscles change. But I maybe would want to find something along those lines for reference for some kind of localized anatomy study. Oh, this is neat. This one shows off the range of motion of the clavicle and the shoulders. Right here. Whoever made this. Where's this from? Anatoref Tumblr. There we go. Let's pop that one into Reference Hunters. There we go. Yeah. Mike Matisse's forced stuff is good for that. There's also some Miles actually included some of that stuff in their big ass folder. That outfit's a little bit sus, don't you think?
Vote white. White is totally sus.
Yeah, let's not do that one.
No.
Please do not do that. I can't get away from those memes.
How did it come up? Like, I was that supposed to be a clan? That looks like it was not supposed to be a clan outfit, but it kind of looks like it is. I think I might have added that to the folder without really paying attention to it or something. It just looked like I was thinking, oh, that's a nice drapery study. It's I don't think it's supposed to be a clan robes, but it kind of looks like it.
I don't know, man. Sounds pretty sus.
Well, I mean, if you need to draw like bad guys or something, I guess there's reference for that. Anyway, a big thing I'm definitely going to need to work on this next week is I need to start working on personal projects that are going to challenge the things I need to work on. Like I've been like doing like so much like mileage grinding and stuff, like, and that's great and all, but it kind of doesn't really like get me to utilize it very much what I'm actually trying to make use of it for. So I'm going to be working on that with Miles and some other people this next week of trying to get off my ass about utilizing what I'm doing here for personal projects. I think my hand needs a little break right now. I've been drawing a lot today, by the way. Like, let's see here. Before we started the class, this is what I was up to.
Are we on break?
No, we are not. I am, but I've been drawing a lot today. In order to give my hands a rest, I might take a little bit longer break before coming back to draw or something, but I'll keep the on-screen pose timers going. What I think I might do is I'm gonna be like pulling up material. I'm gonna be pulling up and assembling reference material to put up because my display is supposed to be arriving tomorrow or Sunday, and I want to have a whole bunch of stuff ready to go to put up there for reference. Here, I'm gonna grab here out of the room. I'm gonna grab some off. Yeah, I've been drawing all day, and I'll be drawing all day tomorrow. Okay, Google, stop. And I'll just pause it on this. Want me an apple? Alright, let's take a peek here. Yeah. You see all these folders here? This is what I was doing before class today. Like, let's see. Did these warm-ups in the morning. A bit more in the morning. Some more in the morning. Some range of motion. This is another thing I was considering, actually, like the range of motion of the spine. This might actually be a good one to start with tomorrow. Here, I actually did a figure pose set today on my own before class. That's also why I'm not really doing this one. Like, here's a bunch more. See, I'm not being lazy. I did my share today. This actually came out better than I remembered. So I was keeping them simple. I'm going to try to rest my hand for a bit and try to think about stuff and gather some reference, but you go back into doing a gesture drawing set. I see, check it out. Even more folders, more folders. Some of these are kind of merged. Well, this one could probably be merged. Some of them only have a few sketches on it, but a lot of them have like full page stuff going on in them. Like, let's see here. Yeah. There. All right, and then somewhere around here, Miles gave me their folder. I started looking at like torso anatomy and stuff. Okay, Google, set timer for 2 minutes.
2 minutes, and we're starting now.
2 minutes till it breaks up. There's a drawing from Miles on the right here, me trying to do quick party skull, imitating their drawing. The rest of the drawings here are from me, yeah. Like this torso anatomy study of mine. But yeah, did all that for class today. I was struggling with a lot of things, and I talked out some stuff with some animators that I know of, like the current plateaus that I'm hitting that I want to go overcome, and I'm going to be working on trying to smash those this week. And one of those plateaus is not doing personal work. I don't want to hit that wall of retreating from doing personal work. I want to do personal work that is going to build on this stuff that I'm doing here. Like, I want to do personal work that utilizes anatomy, or that uses like posing and attitude and stuff and perspective. So I'll be working on that this next week. So the arm is a little dislocated there, but this is a pretty good torso study, I think. It's time to no more metastasize, now to utilize. I realize. Okay, Google, stop. Okay, Google, set timer for 20 minutes.
20 minutes, and that's starting now.
So I'm going to be poking around here. Let's see. What do we got? What do we got? Somebody put Vegeta's head on the anatomy chart. I think I've seen that before here. So check that. This is an anatomy drawing with landmarks on it. Oh yeah, those are nice little. These show off the center. Like, if we did a center of gravity study thing, like these pages right here are from Gestalt Dimension by Gottfried Bamas, like that and stuff would be really ideal to utilize. Like if we did animated center of gravity type stuff. Actually, I'm going to yoink these. So here's my yoinking page. I'll start yoinking these. Oh, and here's that range of motion of the spine right there from Proco. I'm going to save this as a folder called Moving Anatomy. It's going to be a mixture of like anatomy reference and anything that shows off range of motion of the body, or like how muscles change when they move, and any other interesting things I run across here that look like they might be helpful. So yeah, that's gonna since I've done my drawing work for today, maybe that should be what I do for the rest of the session. Like assemble reference for what we're gonna do tomorrow. Let's see here. This is very nice. That shows off the center of gravity right there. Let's see. This is a proportional study of the basic structures of the body. There's a female one there. And I will save. I will share. Be sure to share this with all you guys when I get done putting it together. There we go. So let's see here. It's more Godfrey Bomis, I believe. That's more Bomis. This is Anatomy for Artists, Anatomy for Sculptors book stuff. That's also Godfrey Bomis. It shows different ages of skulls. I'm gonna throw that in there for the heck of it. More Bomis. This is something else. Human space and development requirements. Interesting. I don't really think that this is that useful, but well, no, a little bit for range of motion. Don't know if I necessarily practice from it, but looking at it might be helpful. A couple Renaissance drawings. Realistic drawing reference dump. Huh. Ooh. Now this is nice. Let's well, it's not all this is that useful. That's good though. Yeah, there's some useful stuff in here. I'm gonna throw this up in Reference Hunters. Let's see. Oh yeah. There we go. Little imagery folder. Let's see if there's anything in here that's specific about range of motion or. Oh, this is kind of nice. Yeah. Shows off anatomy, motion a little bit. That's kind of nice for like a lot of poses of the same model. Anatomy basic shapes. This might be good for mannequinization. Let's see. Not so much that. This might be useful. Yeah. This one shows off the range of motion of the arm joint. It's another Bomis thing. Boom. I believe this one is from. I think that one's from Godfrey Bomis right there. Whoa. Character design collection, Bones Anatomy. Ooh. Oh, okay. I'm not gonna complain, but here. Put that one in Reference Hunters also. Dang. Yeah, actually, there's a lot of good stuff in here. And yeah, there's some Bomis right there. Yeah, that's good stuff. Okay, I'm just gonna make this like a general like anatomy smattering folder because there's a lot of good stuff I'm running. Oh, can I yoink any of this? Not letting me. Yeah, I don't think it's letting me yoink it. Wait, let me yank now? No, yeah, it won't let me right click the stuff. That's fucking sucks. So you have to go to the page to get all this. That sucks. Oh well. Yeah, I'll try to look for range of motion stuff that might be useful for what we're gonna do tomorrow. But I think it's good to just get like a smattering folder together right now. It's just like of anything useful I can find that looks really good to include. My giant anatomy smattering file that I'm going to be making. There we go. There we go. There we go. If this is what I think it is, yeah, that's good. Wait, no, that's a really small version of that. Helpful drawing. Whoops. Helpful drawing reference, not mine, but useful. There's only a little few things in here, but yeah, we'll throw it on the pile. It does show some interesting stuff like how to hold gun. Oh, here we go. That's cool. Range of motion and center of balance right here on these photos. That's really handy. And I'll get a bunch of these in here too. So it's going to be a mix of anatomy and oh geez, what the hell's up with that? Computer generated lines mapping the body right there. Some bombus. I'm just grabbing anything that looks useful here. It's all going in the compost, the study compost heap. Because then we can grow beautiful flowers from the by composting this stuff, studying from it, picking stuff to focus on. Just get like a smattering and an overview of inspiration. Let's throw that guy in there. Wonder if Pinterest lets you upload photos. So I'm including, I wasn't going to include this originally, but look, like this, and then that. Boom. That. There might be TTs in there. Gotta be careful about that. Centaur print anatomy. I'll throw that in the pile too, why not? Yes, Pinterest does let you upload? Okay, cool. Then maybe I can upload all these and have them available. I mean, it's not going to be that hard for me to, like, make it. I'm going to save this before it gets deleted. Let's see here. Let's put it in anatomy. Spacedad. Super anatomy mix. I'll save it as that. But let's see how many images we got. So wow, yeah, that's a pretty large pool so far. We can do better, I believe. And I think there's another couple images folders that I can pull from to pull into this as well. That's nice. Let's bring that in hand. Check out this double image effect of this head that looks like a screaming skull. Oh, the body that's posed out to look like a screaming skull. Skeletons. Everything's going on the compost heap. That looks useful to me. What the f... Um... What the hell? This is like a study of skull deformities in babies or something. Cool. Oh. I don't like this Rugrats remake very much. Got a lot of leggy stuff now. Good, good, good. There's a really exaggerated musculature right there. Let's see if there's anything else to this. Yeah, there's a little more. Throw them in here too. Exaggerated muscle anatomy can be handy to look at sometimes. That's it's not Swamp Thing. That's what's his face? The Baki's Baki the Grappler's father. There. There you go. So this one's actually a turnaround right there. This is an animated turnaround. See? Oh, there we go. Yeah, goody. Big old sheet of that stuff. Oh, and I'm not gonna use this. That one's not too good. So that's one. That one I just deleted was like studies of something that I know is a better. There's a better image of somewhere. So work on your making your. Oh, that's a. Jeez. Okay, fine. You go on the pile too. Some other pose of that dude. And then there's like bulking Hulk guy here, and then there's this. Well, let's see if we got any more. Oh, there's now we're getting furry stuff. Okay, never mind. I mean, those are pretty good examples of like figure in perspective, but I mean, come on. All right, fine. Fuck it. Let's throw it in. It all goes in the compost heap. We won't discriminate if it's a good drawing. Oh, that's really nice. Wow. Ooh, is there any more like this? I want to know. Who did this? Because I really like this. This is really fucking good. I really like this. This is like right up my alley. If anyone knows who did that, I would like to know. Oh, another furry. Okay, we'll skip that one. Some heavily exaggerate. This is at a weird angle, but you can at least see like some of the cool exaggeration. So I know this is part of a much larger image pool of like figures from different angles, I think. I just don't know if these whoa, Jesus Christ, what the study. Okay. Hmm. Okay, the only place I can find them where this was posted was Facebook. So I have no idea who made this. Which sucks because it's a fantastic image. Throwing some exaggerated anatomy and like dynamic stuff in there just for the heck of it. Throw that guy in. Oh. Man, let's see how many images we got. Wow, that's a lot. Okay, Google, stop. Okay, Google, set timer for 5 minutes.
5 minutes, starting now.
That'll be a little break. I'm gonna get up and walk around a bit, but yeah, I think this would be good for just. So, I mean, I kind of want to keep everything here because then I can just keep adding to it. But I'll try uploading this. Upload it in the reference hunters section of my Discord here. Anatomy. Spacedad Super Anatomy Mix 1. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's way too fucking big. I think I'm gonna have to shrink some of these files. Let's see here.
I mean, theoretically, you could throw it in Ethan's server because I think that thing's fully nitro boosted.
Yeah. Or I could just share it or something. Let me think real quick on this. Maybe I can shrink these. The larger images here. Trying to remember what the command is to shrink. Oh, there we go. Shrink. Get them like close to the size of some of the other images. Get that one smaller. Smaller. I think I'm gonna have to make a new file. This one's pretty huge. Yep. How much is it? Jesus Christ. I think it's just no way around it. There's just there's just too many files. So let's see. I got an idea. Yeah, let's try Google Drive. All right, here we go. I'm going to put it in, let's see, PureRef class shares. Share. All right, so I'm going to put it in here, and then I'm going to upload it to the folder. Let's see, gesture drawing. Wow. 49 gigs of gesture drawing in that one folder. Okay, let's see. An enemy. Go. Yep, it's in the process of uploading right now. You should be able to get it from the Google Drive link. It's going to be killing my internet connection while it's uploading, though, by the way, I think. Okay, Google, stop. Okay, Google, set timer for 20 minutes. Okay, Google, set timer for 20 minutes.
20 minutes, and that's starting now.
All right, well, while that's going, I think I'm going to start another gesture drawing set. All right, I'm doing the don't pick your pencil off the page exercise right now. There we go, it's uploaded now. So let's see here. So there's a giant amount of stuff in here. A little quick vignette of his hand. Just rough. Oh. Already time to switch. Alright, so now that I got this basic gesture, I'm gonna maybe try, let's see, like dark blue. Oh yeah, this is working out nicely actually. Start with like a rough loose gesture and then do another layer. I'm gonna maybe do more of this for the rest of the session tonight. But I'm able to do this because of all the other like stuff I was doing with the studying stuff. The freestyle studying. Like I've got a smattering of that stuff in the back of my head to kind of pull visual library from. I'm getting like stuff wrong, like this arm is kind of out of whack, but it kind of feels like I'm playing with the right stuff right now. All right, next pose. I'm gonna try to insert some simple shapes in there. My brother's watching the Vine Sauce Nintendogs glitch video in the other room where Vinny's talking about the different glitched out dogs that you get to pick from. This dog likes to play with other dogs and create a hyperloop which crashes the game. This dog likes to stretch out their ears and fly several feet above the ground and turn into a plane. Sure they are empty vessels waiting for souls, but they're a good price for dogs. Oh, same pose. Overheard in the next room. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What's wrong with this dog's sphincter? They all float down here, Vinny. So I'm really looking forward to it. It was a long time coming. I've desperately needed a new monitor for a while. And thanks to the donations that people have been giving me for running these streams, I've been able to afford a new display. And that should be coming tomorrow or Sunday. I feel like I've been kind of beating my head against the wall for the last several months with what I've been doing, but I'm starting to get over my stubbornness a little bit. Like reaching out to others when I run into these ruts is going to be really crucial. And I kind of need to, I think, build more of a support network with like the animators I was talking with earlier today about like stuff I'm struggling with. Yeah, tomorrow let's look forward to utilizing some of what we're looking at tonight to animate some anatomy. It should be fun. We'll do some like localized anatomy studies, probably of the bicep, but I'm also leaning towards the clavicle because that's a really tough area of the body. And there's some really excellent diagrams that show off his range of motion. So that one might be a really challenging one to start with, but I think it would be worth it. Sometimes though you gotta kind of beat your head against the wall a lot before you kind of realize what's not working. And then start course correcting. That's sort of what I've done a bit of. That's also why I'm encouraging people to go to, like, try to enroll in classes good classes as soon as possible, because they, like, you can talk to the instructor there about ruts that you're struggling with. I can try to help people too, but I'm not a professional teacher. I can only go with like my limited knowledge, and keep in mind I'm wrestling with a lot of issues myself. So I'll try to help wherever I can. But I'm going to always urge people towards enrolling in real classes. And I mean, like, you can still show up here. You can do, like, you can get extra mileage and practice what the instructor taught you in your class in here. But I would strongly encourage people here to enroll in real classes. And there's a list I put together of a lot of classes that are definitely worth the money. Classes in school and art course sites. Everyone here should be working on getting together a budget for art classes to enroll in. I'd try to save between 500 to 1,000, and just have on hand to enroll in an art class when one that you really know you need pops up, so you can enroll in it immediately. Because really good art classes that are worth their money tend to fill up pretty quickly. Mileage may vary though. Some of them are pretty consistently easy to get into. And that's not because they're bad, just because, like, maybe not as many people know about them. And the instructors like it that way. They like it that way because the people who seek them out tend to be, like, the receptive students, basically. Some tips for first-time art class people, though. Leave your ego at the door. Learn to keep your mouth shut when the instructor is giving critique. Try to utilize the feedback the instructor gives as best you can. Like, pay full attention when they give you feedback and critique. Watch how they draw. If you are frustrated and struggling with something, let the instructor know. But of course, be courteous to the other students and don't try to hog class time and to make it completely about yourself. Those are some tips that will help you on art classes. And obviously, depending on the temperament of the instructor and the tone of the class, like, some of them can be more serious and some of them can be more kind of playful and free. The tone of the class, I mean. So try to read the room with whatever class you're taking. And also try to find the students who are really, really focused on getting good and getting the most out of the classes, and try to hang with them and do the classwork together. Like the people who are really serious about really getting the most out of the class. It's hard to get feedback from online classes. Well, it depends on the instructor, first off, but generally no. I mean, like you're paying to get feedback from an instructor if you're taking a paid class that involves feedback. There's uninstructed ones where you don't get feedback, but like I'm taking one, but I still get to hang with the other students, and I don't think I get homework critique, but I do get to ask questions during the class and stuff for the class live streams. I have other people I can potentially show my work to who are storyboard professionals who will be able to give me feedback instead of the instructor. So I have my bases covered there. It would have been nice if I gotten in the critiqued version of the class that I'm going to be taking next month, though. That should be pretty nice. Yeah, between now and then, I just want to like keep working on building momentum and confidence and stuff. I'm going to start pivoting back towards like at the beginning of next month. I'm going to start pivoting back towards like storyboard oriented things. For now, I've kind of morphed more into figure drawing type stuff, and I'm hoping to transition that into some animation. Okay, Google, stop. How much time we got? Got a good amount of time. Let's take a look at see what people have been posting in Drawing Corner. I can't be certain, Raboots, but I think you're drawing really. Are you drawing really, really small?
I'm not. It's I'm just zoomed at 150% onto my canvas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do look a little bunched up. There is some broad gesture here and there. Like I like actually how you handled this one. That arm was looking a little bit funky though, but yeah. I mean, keep at it, keep observing the figures. You're gonna have to like at some point kind of pay attention to 3D shapes and how they interlock. But you're starting to get a good sense of like 2D gesture and flow. Some of these don't work quite as good as others. Like you get kind of confused here. This one, there's a little funky stuff going on here, but overall there's somewhat of a flow to it. This one's really nice. I like how this has this continues the curve of the line of action through there. You remember, you always want to kind of think of like the pose or the poses that are interacting as a singular unit.
Yeah, multi-character poses have been kind of challenging. Just trying to mentally wrap my head around two figures interacting.
Yeah, it's tricky. But you can see like here, for example, I mean, I did start with this, but like I think of the figures as like a single unit, basically. Values like really focusing, I see, on like that stick figure puppet and getting some pretty good results. These have a pretty good feel to it. That one has really good. I can really feel like I can feel the back of the calf there. Looking at that, I can feel the bend of the spine. This one has a really nice, good feeling to it. This one, there's some stuff that gets a little confused in here, but overall, like, this works pretty well. This, I feel kind of like, was this a backflip or a handstand? I think it was a flip, wasn't it? But I see, like, I can kind of feel the limbs in 3D space a little bit in there. Yeah, I mean, these are overall pretty good. This one could probably be pushed a little bit more. I feel like the torso could lean forward more or something. But yeah, good stuff. Tyrone, these are looking pretty good, I would say. This one has like a hint of weight in it, but then I think there's like something off about it to me. It's hard for me to say. This one feels good. That is a really nice feel to it. That feels good. These guys, you got a little I think because you kind of went to the edge of the page, these ones got a little confused. I do see you trying to handle it as like a single unit, but it looks a little floppy overall. This one feels okay. It could be pushed more, I think, to like... Yeah, it feels a little bit confused around here to me. Like, I want more of a sense of power coming from it. That one feels really nice, though. This one has a nice, powerful step feel to it. Train is pushing stuff. Watch those head sizes, Train. Try to get the head sizes a little bit more more in proportion if you can. These are quick sketch, so you don't have to be as concerned with that, but you might want to just watch that. Just it's not too hard. Like if you notice, if you like draw a figure and you notice the head's a little small, just add some more mass to the head. You can do the same in reverse if you make the head too big. You just shrink it a little bit. Just you don't even have to erase it. You don't have to erase anything. You can just draw more mass to the head, like. But let's see.
Yeah, I noticed I was doing that a bit.
So I think you're still struggling with how to understand how like 3D form works and 3D space works, judging from this guy right here. But there is little bits and pieces of like the gesture coming through. Keep looking for something that describes the whole figure. I see a little bit of that line of action coming through here. It gets a little confused, but there is a sense of a curve to this. And I like this right here, that even though you didn't do the whole figure right here, that curve right there, and this simple, even this quick, simple ghost to gesture, I can tell what's happening there. Just keep doing it. I mean, there's no shortcut. It's just it's a lot of it is observation. And again, like I said, like you're gonna, without enrolling in a class like I've been pushing people towards, you're gonna be doing the same thing I am, where you do a lot of self-driven practice mileage, and you can talk through your problems with other people. I would recommend talking with me and with other artists better than me, preferably, or any other artists that are struggling with this stuff, about like overcoming like plateaus and barriers that are kind of holding you back. But the biggest thing that'll supercharge you for fitting the pieces together and working on what you need to work on is the enrolling in drawing classes that will be suitable for whatever your level is. So I'm gonna continually urge people towards that right now. I'm going to strongly encourage anyone who continues to attend these classes to look into that. And if you can't afford it right now, watch lots and lots of the Proco videos. Look at lots and lots of like the reference materials you can, any like art reference materials you can find to study relentlessly. This has a pretty nice feel to it. This is a nice story drawing, I would say. It's kind of a self-satisfied feeling to this whole posture here, combined with a little smirk. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Farashi, is looking pretty dope actually. I mean, there are issues and stuff, but I mean, like, I feel like you're struggling with some of the right things here. Like just keep playing with it and pushing it. And I think you're going to benefit tremendously from doing what I was suggesting with that reference stuff. Just like getting a massive amount of like reference to kind of like have near you to like flip through, to like refresh your eye and stuff when you're in the middle of a drawing session, to copy study from, utilize for when you're trying to solve. Oh, that's neat. Actually, so the feet aren't placed quite right, and maybe there could be like more weight to the bottom of this, but I do like how this kind of went in a story pose direction, the cloaked figure here. And I think Raboots, I think you are someone who I would want to definitely push in Pixar a Pixar figure drawing mindset, because you have very kind of sensibilities that would be more geared, that when you get better development, I think are geared toward kind of a Disney Pixar sensibility. And this is, I think, one of the better figures that you've done right here. There's still issues like with the leg stuff, but overall this figure has a really good feeling to it. And the underlying feeling is the main thing I'm looking for. Like over time, you're gonna be studying the structure and the anatomy and stuff, but if you can nail the feeling of the pose, that matters tremendously. So like the structures that you put on these guys are a little stiff, and I think the gesture could be pushed more. But these are looking pretty nice. I would say push them more, exaggerate them more if you can, get more feeling in them, but and be a little bit more bold with them. But overall, these are some solid studies. I think you have some issues understanding 3D form, but I see you trying to push that, like you push the tilt of the planes of the pelvis and stuff. And I see this figure feels actually pretty well balanced right here that you did gestures on. Yeah, just keep practicing. Let's see, sketchy face. It's really tiny, but I see some good gesture in theirs. More good stuff going back here. Farashi, yeah, more. Farashi's really also someone. Farashi is someone who I see when they get better developed, being a very kind of hyper-dynamic, like comic book slash artist slash animator oriented drawer. Like that seems to be what their temperament is. So I would have you look at like a lot of really dynamic comic book artists, especially ones that go like really crazy with exaggeration. Let's see, Train. I want Train to be more bold. These are really very timid, but there is some good stuff in bits and pieces here. I don't think the feet are quite planted right here, but overall this feels balanced to me. I feel a sense of weight to it. This figure feels a little bit off kilter in its balance, but the flow of the gestures feels a bit timid, but there is a flow to it that I kind of like. This one feels a little better. This one has some attitude to it that I kind of enjoy. This one, actually, now that I look at this one has some intentionality to it. I can kind of feel like the overall thrust of the pose kind of taking on a battle stance sort of for here, which I kind of like. So there is bits and pieces of stuff coming through with you, Train, that you're just going to have to, that's going to come out even stronger the more practice you put in. Just watch for that stuff. Keep looking at like a lot of that reference. Yeah, more Tyrone, more good stuff from Tyrone from earlier on tonight. Nitin. Nitin is experimenting with shapes, but the shapes don't really have 3D mass to them. I think you kind of need to utilize the shapes more confidently. And well, I don't know how I can explain this. I'm a little bit cotton-mouthed right now because I'm getting a little exhausted explaining stuff. But I do like the like your underlying gesture right here, your underlying line of action that's driving these figures. Good. I think you're going to be. I think like in addition to like doing more of the gestures to keep that up and keep practicing and building on that, you're going to have to start practicing 3D shapes and constructing 3D shapes. So then you can start adding volume and structure to your figures. So I think that would be the next stage for you. Keep pushing and practicing your gestures and like your overall line of action, because I think you're starting to get the swing of that. So I do feel like that you do understand that there's like should be an overall thrust to the figure. That actually, this is a really loose, simple sketch, but this one, I can tell what's happening there instantly, right here. Even this little kind of quick thumbnail do. Like if you told me, like I don't know how long you took to do this one, but if you told me that this one was like a 10-second pose, that would be pretty plausible as a 10-second pose study. Also, I like this one has a good attitude to it, and it actually feels pretty balanced to me. Let's see, Agonema. I want Agonema to maybe push their stuff a little bit more, but there is. Just trust me when I say that there's good stuff on here. There's good stuff on there, but I've really got to move on. I'm getting tired. I'm getting so tired. Oh. Yeah. Well, anyway, so let's do another set. Let's make this next set our last set for the evening. We'll put it at 25 minutes. Okay, Google, set timer for 25 minutes.
25 minutes, starting now.
So we'll just get a nice like observational drawing session in for the evening. So I'm doing the continual line exercise right now because it's a nice way to kind of loosen up in case I'm getting too stiff. And it also forces my forces my visual memory to engage with what I'm looking at. What you get out of the continual line exercise generally won't be like a very good looking drawing, but that's not the point. But anyway, now that I have that, I'm going to go in and put some shapes on top of that gesture I made. Make some solid shape choices for what goes on top of here. Maybe make them into kind of cartoon character poses a little bit. What app am I using? I'm using I'm using an app called Gesture Drawing 3 that's available on QBrush.com. And it's $15. There's free web apps you can use where you cannot upload your own custom images or anything, but where let me move this over here. But where they have like an on-site mix of figures that you can use, like sites like Line of Action or Quick Pose stuff are good for that. Get a few shapes in here. These should actually maybe be 3 minutes, because then we get another minute to kind of fill in more stuff. I'm gonna switch these to 3s if people are cool with it, because I kind of like this do a gesture and then try to pick out some shapes from them approach that I'm taking right now. So I'm gonna change that to 3. There we go. Let's put those in there. I'm gonna do a torso study on this guy. Let's see here, I got the egg of the rib cage. Get like the hips kind of in here a little bit. So I'm not gonna be copying him exactly, but I'm gonna be like glancing up at him as like a point of reference a little bit, and then drilling what I know about the anatomy of the torso. So I definitely see a difference in my work today from a year ago. But I feel like if I had been more conscious of the methods I was using to study, there's so much more I could have done. But hindsight is 2020. And now I have a better idea of like not only how I can possibly overcome my plateaus, but now I have the gumption and the pacing and the understanding of myself to be able to put myself at the foot of that plateau. That is practicing, by which I mean like practicing to the point that I'm start hitting my limit of what I'm capable of. And then like thinking and instead of like retreating and getting discouraged, reaching out to other people to help like overcome that plateau. And then like looking for something that'll help me get over that plateau. Like it could be some major shift in and how I'm approaching stuff. Like getting in the habit of just having tons and tons of reference on hand to look at. That might be what's really key for me. That and like productive personal projects. So I really did like where we went with that torso study. If you guys don't mind, I'm going to switch the folder. Sorry. But I'm going to switch it to another folder of male figures. There we go. This is going to have a lot of muscle dudes in it with bare torsos. That will be a lot of stuff to practice torsos from. I'm gonna make this I'm gonna make the rest of this session a torso drill study, but there's plenty of dynamic poses in this to also do gesture studies from. I should have named this the himbo folder, because, man, there's some hot dudes in this.
Are they himbos, though? Are they nice and stupid, besides just being hot?
I mean, there's cruel himbos.
Are they? I thought himbos had to be nice, but
No, I mean, there's cruel bimbos, too. Himbo and bimbo doesn't mean whether they're good or bad. It's just...
I mean, I kind of agree with you, but I thought that a himbo was more than just
Well, you want
name
it. Well,
for
you
the
want a himbo, but you want a kind-hearted himbo. You don't want an asshole himbo.
fair enough. Oh, by the way, before the session's over, I'd like to thanks for the recommendation on Adam Curtis documentaries.
Oh yes, yeah.
I did watch Hypernormalization yesterday while I was playing Valheim, and it was cool. It was good.
With the part one of the documentaries, or is this a
The
different?
Hypernormalization.
Is that
movie?
another? Is that another documentary, or is that one of the names of the six-parters?
No, I haven't watched the Six Parters. That's the name of a documentary released in 2016, which is
Right.
available online.
Yeah, I think I saw that one a long while ago. But yeah, Adam Curtis is really interesting. I do strongly recommend anyone who's anyone here definitely check out Adam Curtis's recent BBC documentary series. I'll link it after the session here, but it's a really kind of poignant fucking hell. I'm so mush-mouthed and cotton-mouthed this evening. Jesus Christ. It's a poignant look at like world history, that how things have led up to where they are now regarding like how absolutely paralyzed we are to like do anything to improve anyone's lives. And how like trusting too much into like computer algorithms and other things has kind of led to alienation and paranoia and like supercharged like people believing in conspiracy theories and shit, among other things. Let's see here. Whoa. Okay, dude. Is this there's some photo? This is somebody copy pasted someone's head onto the guy's body. The fuck is up with this? Let's get rid of that. Okay, that works. So generally speaking, the ribcage will remain like more or less mostly the same size. And exceptions to that are when somebody's inhaling or puffing out their chest. But most of the time when you see like somebody increasing their chest size, what's making that appear to like puff the chest out is usually like on like a bodybuilder's anyway, that's usually the trapezius back here being flexed. Like when he raises his arms up, like that muscle like pushes out a little bit more from his back. And that's actually a muscle that's wrapping over the back. And it appears to give more mass to the front of the torso when it bulges. But yeah, like I mean, you can feel it yourself in your chest when you inhale and exhale or try to puff up your chest. Your ribcage expands just a little bit. Your ribcage is made to be a little bit flexible so that it can absorb impact better and distribute the force of whatever hits it to, like, hopefully not crack your ribs, if unless it's a particularly nasty hit in the wrong spot. But yeah, if our rib cages were rigid, we'd tend to break it a lot more because it would be able to absorb impact. We'd also have a harder time breathing. See, I did not plan out the clavicle, so everything's kind of going wonky on this guy here. Something like that, maybe. This is pretty tricky. That was a crummy study. I'm going to try to get like more frontal torso shots like this for the rest of the session. Well, I am still really familiar with torso anatomy, so maybe we should review it this week. That'd be a good idea. But yeah, tomorrow I'm leaning towards either the bicep or the clavicle or something. Clavicle might actually be a little bit complicated, but we'll see. Burning how that muscle, how that bone works into people's skulls would be a good idea. Regardless, though. Yeah, this thing is what I'm thinking of doing an animation thing on tomorrow. Like showing what happens to it when it raises and lowers. Or like changes position, moves forwards and backwards. Like I don't think it goes that high. But I'll find some reference of its range of motion. Hopefully we'll be able to do studies of that. I've got a few sources I know I can pull into, like the Anatomy for Sculptors book, I believe, has some stuff on that, and there's a bunch of like stuff on like the clavicle moving on like anime artist type things. Let's get another clean frontal torso pose. That's pretty clean. Partly in shadow, but that's fine. This is fine. You're confronted by a wild himbo. What do you do? How does that himbo song go again? I need a himbo. I'm holding out for a himbo till the end of the night. It's gotta be strong, it's gotta be fast, and it's gotta be dumb and polite, or something. So I definitely want to do more long studies in the future too. But I started to run into a thing where like because I'm a really active artist, in order to do long studies, I need to do a lot of quick studies. Because that builds my confidence with being able to pull off a long study. It's really counterintuitive. But yeah, we'll be mixing in some long studies next week too. Some long anatomy studies might be a good idea. Like spending a long amount of time on a particular anatomical structure, where we really pay attention to the structure. Okay, Google, how much time left on timer?
There's 4 minutes and 29 seconds left.
Goody. At some point, I'm gonna have to do this with my legs and my pelvises too, because those are pretty My legs and my pelvises need a lot of work. I keep fucking those up really badly. So my homework for you guys is to start putting together like giant ass, like get in a habit of putting together giant ass reference pools of stuff for yourself. Anatomy reference, gesture reference, shape reference, construct, whatever you're studying. If it's figures, then figures. If you're doing like shape studies, like 3D shape studies, get a lot of that. Stuff that'll help you with that. But have them alongside you when you're doing stuff as a cheat sheet or something to vibe with, or to do quick copy studies and so on. That feels really wrong right here. I'm going too far into anatomy there when I should be keeping it more like this. Then you build these shapes in the anatomy on top of that. It feels a little better already. But it is a quick study, so. I'll try to exaggerate this guy's torso, maybe. Close that with a little cartoony drawing here. Okay, Google, stop. Yeah, okay. Anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow on that. Let's take a look at what people have done in chat real quick. Just a quick glance, but I really gotta get some rest in. Check, check, check. Feel free to post. We might make it very last minute. But yeah, I'm gonna be out of here in a hurry because I'm really tired. I need some rest.
All right. Thanks for the class, man.
Yeah.
Have a nice rest.
Nice. Goodbye.